Hi, I'm Annie Ikebudu. Today I'll be talking about the little foxes that deal with our marriages. The Bible tells us in the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15, that we should catch all the foxes, those little foxes, before they ruin the vineyard of our love. For the grapevines are blossoming. They say we should catch all the foxes, those little foxes that ruin the vineyard of our love. You have to understand that the most beautifully designed and well-built houses will eventually crumble if left unattended. To keep anything fresh, alive, and in good order requires care. It requires maintenance and repair from time to time. And a marriage is not different. Unless a marriage is kept fresh and nurtured, it will fade like an old photograph. Marriage is a dynamic love relationship between a man and a woman. And at every moment, that relationship is either growing deeper and richer, or it is stagnating and decaying. Some people are legally married, but they are emotionally divorced. There are things that we must do to spice up our marriages. There are things we must do to keep our marriages and our love relationship fresh in order to prevent emotional divorce or legal divorce. And today, we're going to be taking out some time to look at some of those things that really mess up our marriages. I call them the little foxes that really mess up our marriages. But I want you to understand, before we go to the foxes, that you can only get out of a marriage what you put into that marriage. You can only get out of a marriage what you put into that marriage. If a marriage must succeed, it requires a high level of devotion, a high level of commitment, passion, and energy. Both parties in a marriage must give 100% to that marriage. Each must be available for each other when needed. We must all be fully present, ready to listen, ready to talk, and ready to act. Every partner in a marriage must pour their heart and their soul into that marriage. Each must be prepared to make whatever sacrifice that is needed to endure the success of their marriage. And the rewards to such commitment is a rich, healthy, and a loving relationship that lasts, where the partners enjoy their marriages instead of enduring their marriages. We need to devote time and energy, passion, and resources into our marriage. I love what the Bible says in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall also reap sparingly. And he who soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. This is a spiritual principle. Whatever you sow is what you will reap. So let me ask you a pertinent question at this juncture. What are you sowing into your marriage? What are you sowing into your marriage? Are you sowing selfishness or selflessness? Are you sowing indifference or are you sowing commitment? Are you sowing unfaithfulness or faithfulness? Are you sowing impatience or patience? What are you sowing? Criticism or appreciation? Are you sowing unforgiveness or are you sowing forgiveness? The first little fox I want to deal with today is taking each other for granted. Taking each other for granted. And to take someone for granted simply means to expect someone to always be available to serve you in some way without appreciation or recognition. It means to value someone too lightly. To value someone too lightly. It means to fail to appreciate someone. You take someone for granted when you fail to appreciate the person. It means to fail to show that you are grateful that someone is actually helping you. It means also to fail to show that you are happy that someone is actually with you. Usually when couples are dating, they're always there for each other, and they're always dotting around each other. They're always looking for what to do for each other. They're always very romantic. They're always going out and doing things together. But once they get into marriage, soon after the wedding, everything changes. They now start taking each other for granted. They start to decrease their appreciation level for their partners. They start talking to each other very carelessly. They start to lose respect for each other. They start to deprioritize their spouse. We do this when we fail to give our partner the respect that he or she deserves. And we take our partners for granted when we put other people or other things before our spouse. We take our partners for granted when we put other people and things before our spouse. In the kingdom protocol, it is God first, your spouse second, then your children, then work, business, or ministry. You take your spouse for granted when your partner no longer gets your attention. You take your partner for granted when you are no longer attentive to the needs of your partner. You become too distracted or fascinated by other things and other people to the point where your partner becomes unnecessary to you, or start to feel not needed, start to feel not appreciated, and start to feel not important. I love the story in the Bible about Queen Vashti. She took her husband for granted and she lived to regret it. And that story can be found in Esther chapters 1 and chapter 2. One day, her husband, the king, was excited, and he asked that the Queen Vashti, be brought to him in the royal robe so that he can show her off before his friends. Queen Vashti refused to show up. She embarrassed her husband, the king, publicly. The king became so furious and made plans immediately to replace Queen Vashti. What am I trying to say? Never try to embarrass your partner publicly. Never try to embarrass your partner publicly. It is a no-go area. Never try to correct your partner publicly. And the word public simply means once there's a third person, once there's someone else aside from your husband or your wife, that's the public. Do not embarrass your partner publicly. Do not try to correct them publicly. Wait until you guys get home, or wait until you are in the private. Taking your partner for granted is a dangerous little fox that can mess up the vineyard of your love life. We must learn to appreciate our spouses. Let me reiterate. We must learn to appreciate our spouses. Whatever you appreciate, appreciates in value. Whatever you appreciate, appreciates in value. If you are thankful for what you have, you will end up having more. But if you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never have enough. It is not what you don't have that limits you. Rather, it is what you have but you don't know how to use that is the problem. Your spouse is not the problem. I repeat again, your spouse is not the problem. What he or she does not have is not the problem. The problem is that you have not learned how to optimally utilize what you have. Because somebody else can win with the cards you are complaining about. By appreciating your spouse, you'll be able to tap into the rich deposit of love, joy, happiness, and creativity that is trapped within your partner. We must learn to be grateful to our partners for their efforts and for their sacrifices. It is one thing to be grateful, and it's another thing to show that you are grateful. Most people say to themselves, I am grateful for my spouse, but they don't show their gratitude. It is one thing to be grateful, yet it's another thing to show that you are grateful and appreciative of your spouse. We must learn to appreciate both their successes and their trials to help us. We must try to appreciate both their successes and even their trials that did not succeed to help us. Because oftentimes we only appreciate results. But when it comes to marriage and leadership, we must also appreciate good intentions, good trials. Whatever it is you appreciate and value. Whatever it is you appreciate, you will get more of it. If you want to enjoy your love life with your partner, one primary key, one foundational key is that you must learn to appreciate your partner. Show them that you are really appreciative that they are in your life. Show your partner that you are grateful to God that God gave her to you if you're the husband. And if you're the wife, show your husband that you are grateful to God that God has blessed you with such a man as a husband. See, what about foxes? They are so small that we don't even notice them until things get really bad. You have a choice to either enjoy your marriage or to endure your marriage. The choice is up to you. If you want to enjoy your marriage, the first key is that you must learn to appreciate your spouse. God bless you.